Hello, Spirits of Vengeance, and welcome back to the Ghost Rider Vlog. So we have an interesting one today. It's a return to the essentially standalone stories, just one book, one story. This is number 48, Ghost Rider. We have a nice little cover with a humanoid vampire on the front, which is not totally correct, but not totally wrong. It's a little odd. But our story today is called The Wind of the Undead. And essentially, we start off with Johnny Blaze going through the desert when he is suddenly picked up by a gigantic vampire bat. He has to turn into the Ghost Rider in order to save himself, and then proceeds into a house after he has reverted back. However, as he landed and reverted back to human form, a old-timey guy was sitting there in a truck witnessing all of this and ran off to get help. Apparently, they all believe that the place is haunted by some sort of magical based place, and that the lady there is possibly doing some sort of witchcraft or something. Anyway, Johnny steps in to talk with the woman, and she fakes that her family was getting killed. I say fakes because there's going to be a plot twist to this by the vampire bats. But as she's explaining where all this stuff comes from, and that it's a vampire lord who was 3 generations back, his grandfather was bit by a vampire. 2 generations back, technically. He's the second one from his grandfather, though. But 2 generations back, his grandfather was bitten by Dracula, apparently, and yes, Dracula is a part of the Marvel Universe. There was a long-running, really good series called Tomb of Dracula, and in fact, I have the Essentials book somewhere. I don't think I actually have it out, but it would be in my pile right over there if it was out. But Dracula is a thing in Marvel, and apparently being cursed by the vampire's bite, this guy can somehow manifest and control giant vampire bats. But he's essentially been planning to make a base of control for undead minions out in the middle of nowhere, where most humans wouldn't be able to do much anyways, and then grow into a bigger civilization for monsters of the night to take from and go out and control things. So while this is all happening and we are also seeing this guy for the first time, we go back to Johnny to see that the old-timey guy gotten some other locals together, and they're going to try and hang him, because hanging demons works so well, then they think he's only just a demon. But before they can actually try to hang what was actually a human, the police do show up and try and save Johnny. But as they're incarcerating Johnny, they're not incarcerating, they're putting him in a cell to try and protect him from the crazy locals who think that he's a demon. Only to overhear that the gal he was talking to was actually getting captured by a vampire bat, and that somebody nearby actually saw it. He quickly turns into the Ghost Rider, literally removes the door from his cell, summons a bike, jumps out the window of the sheriff's office, and proceeds after the vampire lord. Only to find out that the lady was also a consort of his, and that she was faking what the appearance she had, which pisses off the Ghost Rider even more, deciding that he's going to wreak vengeance not only on these two when the time arises, but he's also going to get rid of those goddamn bats. The Vampire Lord also has a crystal, which he then uses to stop Johnny's willpower to become Ghost Rider, and forces him to stay as Johnny. And after knocking him out with a blast from the said crystal as well, he wakes up in a silo with 4 of the vampire bats hanging over him. He quickly manages to light up a kerosene lamp, starts the silo on fire, and manages to escape. He then takes the crystal from the Vampire Lord and crashes it, finally bringing him back to being the Ghost Rider. He then sets blaze to the bats while also the silo itself is burning. And it's also been several times that there's a heck of a prairie wind going, which was starting to chill even Johnny. But the winds pick up even more, catching the house on fire. The unconscious vampire lord wakes to his consort trying to roust him, only for a giant wooden pillar to land on the both of them and consume them with flame along with the rest of the house. Fire, of course, in some mythologies being one of the ways you can kill a vampire, and I wouldn't exactly consider these two top-of-the-line vampires anyway, so there we have it. Ghost Rider stands outside, hearing their final death screams, and rides away as the embers become ashes, and the ashes are blown away on the prairie wind. So, interesting little standalone story. I thought it was worth covering the majority of that. Really nice artwork on the inside, by the way. And that's about it for this particular issue. So, until next week when we talk about book number 49, that's all for now. See you then.